The moon is right. Spirits up.
All right.
We're here tonight. Oh, that's enough!
Holy cow. That was loud.
Hello and welcome to Grown Up Christian. I'm Casey.
And I'm Sam. We both went for the start. It's fine.
Dude, it's been forever since, or it feels like it's been a long time since we've gotten to actually record something. So
I
very
know.
excited.
Every time we have like a little, even a one little break, because you did an intro with Jesse not too long ago, and then sometimes we'll do our intros to solo episodes a little far in advance. Or we'll do our solo episodes a little far in advance. And then I did Andrew Schwab's intro by myself, which turned out. Sorry. My light's falling down. Hold on. My lighting's all fucked up now. Apologies to the listeners.
He's like sitting directly under the hot lamp like a bearded dragon.
Yeah, I feel like a fucking lizard right now. It still sucks. All right. We're back at it. And yeah, it was, dude, I hadn't done a solo intro or anything like that. And last time I did one, it was like boom, boom, real quick, like cut to the chase. But I tried to go, there's a couple things that I was like, well, I'll see what happens if I talk about it. I think I went about 20 minutes, which felt narcissistic. I don't think I've monologued that long at any point in my entire life. It kind of reminds me of, you know what it reminded me of? God damn, this is kind of embarrassing. So did you remember was it Teen Quest? Is that what it was called at Liberty when we were there?
Teen Quest?
Why do I want to call it Teen Quest? It can't be Teen Quest. That's too stupid. Youth Quest. Teen Quest. It's like you're just like a
like
pervert.
Some sort of sex offender.
Yeah.
Rehab.
That's what I was gonna say. You're like a pervert youth pastor who's just conquesting through youth groups. Is what it sounds like. No, Youth Quest was it was kind of like in the vein of like shitty Christian improv. Honestly, there were people on it who were really funny. Youth Quest my youth pastor graduated from Liberty, so Youth Quest came to my church, and as a kid, I was like, oh, this shit's cool. It's just like a ministry team. They go to youth groups, they do like whose line is it anyway type improv, and you think it's funny and cool at the time. But I wanted to do that when I got to Liberty, and I actually tried out for it. And they were like prompts. Like it was like, okay, here's your topic, monologue on this. And then it was like you just kind of go back and forth with somebody else. And some of them were just like straight monologues where you had to like go for several minutes on a topic. And
they were recording these and then posting them somewhere, or
no, they weren't. This was like, it was tryouts. So it was like in one of the, I don't know, wherever they did the tryouts, one of the classrooms there. I was like, so I just remember that awkward feeling of just like speaking out loosely on a topic. And surprisingly, that's where my memory and mind brought me back to after recording last week, was like, I remember monologuing back when I tried out for Youth Quest, and I am so glad I did not make it. That would have sucked. Now, I did have friends that were on it, and that's fine. Like, it was honestly, when you're in that bubble, it was a pretty cool thing. And you traveled almost every weekend. You would just go to different places across the country, and it probably would have been cool if I had made it. But you were gone almost every single weekend. And sometimes like you would be gone for long weekends, and you still had to get all your homework done. Like,
you know what you probably would have made it on is if you would have done that like master's commission interpretive dance thing.
Yeah, that would have been helpful if I could have been able to pull that one out of my back pocket. I want to say, I'm trying to remember what the prompt I had was to monologue on. I want to say it had to do with a kid who's struggling because their parents just got divorced or something like that. And they're like, now just go and go. And you're like, oh, okay, here we go. And actually,
It's a heavy topic that you
yeah,
knew nothing about.
I'll be honest though, whatever the topic was, I could be wrong on what it was, but it was something in that vein of a teenager struggling through a circumstance that they're subjected to, not necessarily something they brought upon themselves. Granted, maybe they brought it on themselves. Some kids suck so bad their parents get divorced. uh, no,
Yeah,
but
that's a storyline that doesn't play out on Disney Channel movies very often, but it's definitely
I have to tell
happens in
kids
real
all the
life.
time, hey, it's not your fault. Yeah, I gotta tell kids all the time it's not their fault.
even
No,
even when
both
you know it is.
both your parents love you. It's not your fault. You're only 6. Turns out 6-year-olds can suck pretty bad.
You literally leave the love of your life just to get away from your awful kid.
Yeah, you just like emancipate your family. I guess that's what the kid would do. It's not real emancipation. You just disappear. You're like, by the way, I have a secret family, and I'm moving in with that family. Dude, I feel like my voice still sounds fucked up from the other week. I got better, and then yesterday, I woke up feeling shitty, which sucked. All right, no, today's Sunday. Yeah, Saturday I woke up feeling shitty. It started coming on Friday night, and I was gonna go to a show on Friday because Belmont was playing in my area. Really enjoyed their newest album. Really wanted to go to this show, but they're co-headlining with Can't Swim, and Can't Swim used to be good, and they turned into one of the worst bands of all time on their newest album. It's like laughably bad. It's so shitty. It's hard to believe people who have put out a few full-length albums and have matured musically decided to put out what they just put out. It's awful. This might be ruining. I don't think anyone in Can't Swim grew up Christian, but probably won't bother reaching out to them at this point. And it's a co-headline tour. I didn't know any of the openers, and I was going to go with my buddy Jesse, but he had been traveling all week, so he backed out. And I'm like, I don't want to go by myself to go to a show, like to see one band that's not going to play till 10 o'clock. Only to at the same time, I'm not feeling well. And Saturday morning, I was waking up. I had to take my MTELs. That's like a Massachusetts test for that you have to pass in order to get your licensure to teach in a school. I'm not technically a teacher, but kind of, and I'm under a teacher contract, so I do have to pass the reading and comprehension MTELs. And
It's
it's like
just a breathalyzer.
dude, that would make more sense. Honestly, a drug test would make more sense than this test. So it's a 4.5-hour exam, and I woke up Saturday morning feeling shitty, which wasn't great. That's not the kind of, you don't want to walk into that already not feeling well. Woke up with a splitting headache, just like downed a bunch of Dayquil, and was trying to like get myself amped to go. I'm really glad I didn't go out Friday night, because it's like, it's worth staying in just to get a good night's rest before you take a big exam like that, right? You don't want to be out late drinking, get home, feel like shit the next morning. So I take this. God, it was. I swear to God, it was like, it had to have been 82 degrees in that room. It was the hottest room I've ever
Oh,
been in to take a test. I was actively uncomfortable the whole time, and you read a lot. It's a lot. Again, it's reading and comprehension. So you're literally like reading paragraphs and then answering questions on those paragraphs. And then it's like, read a paragraph and each sentence is numbered. And then they ask you a bunch of questions like, which sentence has a spelling error? What would make more sense? What would make the paragraph make more sense? And it would be like, flip flop sentence 3 and 4, put sentence 5 in front of sentence 1. And it's all stuff like that. And then it ends with, there's 2 errors in this sentence, retype the sentence correctly. And then you have to read several paragraphs and do 100 to 150 word summary of the paragraphs and the article, whatever you read. And then they give you 2 prompts, which is like the one I had was a paragraph on why elementary school students should be allowed to use calculators, and then there was a right below it a paragraph on why elementary school students should not be allowed to use calculators, and you have to write 300 to 600 words making an argument for one of those.
This sounds
And
awful.
it was fucking
And
terrible.
all of this to make sure that you can properly like assess a fifth grader's book report when he reads like Jake Paul's autobiography.
Dude, it's so it's so dumb. Like I have a 4.0 in my master's program, and this is essentially dependent. My pass or fail is pretty dependent on on just me not having access to spell check, and that pisses me off because I suck at spelling, and they
I
don't
do too.
you don't use spell check, so it's like I mistype things by accident, and rereading your own work is really
I'll vouch for that.
that's a constant
You need
joke is
like
how
one of
badly I
those
spell
cereal
things.
box like decoder rings to read some of
Yeah.
Sam's sentences.
I can't.
I never know exactly what you're saying. But I do get the spirit of what you're trying to say most of
and
the time.
and that's all that matters to me, and I've given up on even trying at this point, but I spell stuff incorrectly a lot, and when I go back, I'll reread it and then be like, "That looks right," and then I hit send, and you guys are like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" So I don't catch my own mistakes well. I know one of the strategies to do that is you read your work backwards. So I wrote this out. I reread it forwards about 5 or 6 times just to make sure I had it right, just content wise. And then I read it backwards, going word by word until I got to the beginning again. And it's like, but some of the ones where you read like the paragraphs or the sentences, it's like you read a paragraph and all the sentences are numbered. It's like which sentence has a spelling error, and I read like 5. It's like it's multiple choice of 4, and I'm like, I read the 4 sentences and I'm like, I have no fucking clue. Why? Because this doesn't matter. This actually does not matter at all in the world we live in, where you can just Google it. You can Google it. Who gives a fuck? Like one of the ones I got stuck on was like, which sentence is missing a capital letter? And I was looking back and forth, and you get in your own head about it too. When you're looking at multiple choice shit, you get in your own head so much that you forget things you definitely know for certain. And it was like one sentence had like Queen so and so, and Queen wasn't capitalized. And I'm like, do you capitalize Queen when it comes before a name? That's something I knew. As soon as I left the building, I go, yes, you absolutely capitalize Queen. As soon as I left the building, I fucking knew the answer to that. But then there was another one that was like a quote began and the quote didn't have a capital letter. And I'm like, do you start all quotes with capitals? And I'm just like really in my head about it. I ended up Google. I knew I went back. I did pick the right answer, but I had selected the wrong one originally. I went back, picked the right one. As soon as I left, I Googled it, and I know I picked the right thing, but I'm like, you just get so much in your own head about it that you forget what you actually know, and you feel like you're constantly being tricked. My spelling sucks, and I rely heavily on spell check, and it works. Like, I mean, you just don't need to know that. And spelling is kind of just a dumb thing anyway, right? Like, I get the, I get the concept of like the rules and syntax and shit
Just
like that.
because you're living somewhat efficiently without it doesn't mean that it's totally useless.
It's unless you're like in marketing and your job is to just edit shit, it's pretty useless. And I can tell you it's useless, at least for me, because it's had zero impact on my life, not knowing how to do it good. Because we have the technology to fix it. I don't need to. I just don't need to. I got red squiggly lines that do that for me now. Why am I going to waste my time learning all the grammar rules so I can pass an outdated exam? We'll see.
Fair
I
enough.
won't find out for several weeks if I pass it, but like words are really just like idea. It's just like they're all constructs to communicate ideas. Like if you know what I'm saying, academically, I get it that it matters, but it doesn't matter if without spell check I occasionally misspell something. That shouldn't disqualify me from like being a school counselor because it. I'm not grading papers. I'm not really writing much of anything for work. I don't know. It's a very goofy test to for my role to say like they just want to be like, well, you have to take a standardized test to be able to do it. We can't just like let you work in a school. Like,
It's like
how crazy is this,
needless
dude?
rigmarole.
I mean, cops don't have to take these dumb tests.
You feel it's more important that cops know how to spell.
I mean, I feel like it's important to know that cops aren't like bottom of the barrel dumb. And so far they're not changing my mind that that's like entry level acceptability is bottom of the barrel.
Oh man. Well, I'm glad you made it through.
Yeah. You've had an interesting week. You've been traveling a lot. You stayed in the shit ass hotel that I want to hear about.
Oh yeah. So I had a work thing in Las Vegas this week, and so we decided to fly out a little early. And so we flew from Wichita to Fresno and rented a car and spent the first couple of days like in California, just hitting national parks and stuff. We went to Sequoia National Park where I saw big trees and horrible children. Dude, like so as a general rule, like national parks just keep getting more and more full of people, it seems like we got into
Makes you
them
miss
at like the
COVID.
wrong time. Yeah, and like those ones are close to major cities, so they're pretty busy even when it's like off season or whatever. So we go to Sequoia National Park, and anyway, like as a general rule, anywhere in a national park that you can drive and park next to is going to suck. It probably is amazing, like whatever's there, that the main attraction, but like it's gonna be significantly degraded because of how many mouth breathers are like there looking at it with you. And maybe I'm in that group. I don't know. But uh so we get to this, there's a couple of different stops that are along the way that you can stop and look at. We kind of like got off the trail and hiked around in the backwoods, just looking at some of the big like unnamed sequoia trees. They're huge, unbelievably huge.
Yeah.
Like I thought, I didn't really know what the difference was between sequoias and redwoods was, but like sequoias are like much bigger, much bulkier, so they're a lot like wider in the trunk and stuff, and the redwoods
Oh,
are a little
really?
taller.
I thought
Yeah,
redwoods were like the biggest. I
well,
didn't
they're the
realize
tallest
sequoias
for
were.
sure.
Okay.
There's
I
apparently
feel
one like somewhere out there that's like 300 plus feet, I think.
that's wild. I feel like when it comes to the height of the tree, like all trees just end up being tall. And when you're dealing with like 200 versus 300 feet, you're just looking up and seeing a massive tree and there's a canopy. So you're like, it's a little bit harder to necessarily gauge, but I feel like that's what would be the most impressive. Cause I remember seeing like pictures of like, it was like a road carved through, like you would drive under a redwood with the bottom of it carved
Yeah,
out or some
like
shit
you're
like that.
a
Like,
tunnel cut through the tree.
yeah, and that's sick. But so I always had this impression that redwoods were just the biggest all around. But so I didn't realize that sequoias dominated redwoods on the girth game.
Yeah, they are girthy boys.
Girthy
So
boys.
the biggest one there is called General Sherman, and
That's definitely someone named their cock General Sherman.
it's got to be right. So you drive up and you're headed in that direction. You get up there and there's like a multi-level parking lot kind of stretched across the hill. So instantly you're like, oh, great. So we start walking in and it's swarmed. I mean, there's so many people there, and it's not even like peak season, but tons of kids running around and they're just screaming at each other, screaming. So you got to hike down this area, which is just like a big long pathway that goes way downhill to the tree. And I mean, it's unbelievably big. So it's 36 and a half feet in diameter. This tree is, it's
That
100. It's like
Crazy.
110 feet in circumference around the outside of it.
That's
And I think
incredible.
275 feet tall or something like that. It's a huge tree. Like the
How
biggest
old are these
branches.
trees? You know? Is there anything that told you about how old they are before they get that big?
Yeah, I can't remember what the age was, but they're hundreds of years old. I mean,
Yeah.
they're very old. Um, and then you can go up, like if you go up into the real high elevations, there's these things called bristlecone pines, which look like just a really scrubby, terrible pine tree that's all knotted and gnarled. And those ones are like some of the oldest living things on the planet.
Really? How big are
Yeah,
the
any
pine cones? Did you find pine cones?
the sequoia ones are not very big.
Really?
They're smaller than like pine cones that you see around there, I bet.
No way.
It's kind of strange. I think
Yeah.
it's like a mass game where they just like throw a billion pine cones at the ground and they have to have heat in order to open. So like they open after a forest fire.
Which is insane that like they last it's cool because they last that long. They live basically forever, but they barely repopulate. So they have to live forever in order to like outlast their repopulation game, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. Because anything that falls, any seed that comes out of one of those cones has to find a spot with sunlight,
They're like
which
that
is really
old guy that
restricted.
finds that woman. They're like that 70-year-old man that finds that woman in their 20s and they just like pump them full of babies, you know? And
Yeah, they find their own little Anna Nicole
like
Smith, and she replaces
just
their
in
heart
time.
medication with Red Hots.
Just in time, right at the very end of their life, they like blast out about 5 babies that'll grow up without a father. It's a beautiful evolutionary process.
I'll tell you what, these old celebrities that are still having kids at like 70 something,
Yeah, it's fucked
like
up.
it's disgusting.
It's
Stop it. Nobody wants your lumpy headed tadpoles swimming around. We
it's
don't, we
funny.
don't
I
need your
just saw this,
pollywogs out here, bro.
and honestly, and they just fucking like their kids just get famous for being famous people's kids, and I'm tired of that bullshit. Like, I just saw like some article on Facebook about I don't know. I guess one of Jay Z and Beyonce's kids performed with Beyonce recently, and you're like, that kid doesn't have to be good at anything. They just born into the right fuck. I guess that's how life's always been, but it's just annoying with A-list in the limelight celebrities. Just be born to a rich CEO and get your bag the way most worthless white children do. And I just think it's annoying, like thinking of all these celebrities who have had kids and they name their kids weird shit and they're just like now they're famous because and they're good at acting,
Yeah.
I guess. It's like
Young
yeah,
Robitussin is going to film school.
yeah, it's pathetic.
Like,
It's so
great.
dumb.
Great. His script's getting read for sure. So we did the Sequoia thing. Spent the whole time like wishing this 10-foot branch would like fall off and just smash like, like 8 families.
That awesome homeschooled family with 12 children running around.
Oh, dude, they are out of control. Dude, like I
Homeschool
don't
families
I don't
love
dislike.
national parks.
I don't know if that's what was there or what. I mean, there was some of those there for sure. But like the ones that bother me are like the kid that's like obviously just purposely throwing a fit. Like they can't even it's so contrived, like the fit that they're throwing, that they can't muster tears or a good cry sound.
Oh yeah.
So like there's this little girl freaking out, and then she would like take a break for like 5 to 10 seconds and then be like, ah, scream. And it's like her parents are like begging her to stop, and
Yeah.
oh,
That's the
terrible.
worst when you watch parents just like bow to the whims of their children when they're like begging, just stop. Okay. Oh, look, you can have a
Please,
treat later.
what,
Okay.
what, what do you need? Do
What
you,
do you
do, you,
want?
do you want juice?
Oh
You want
my
juice? You
God.
want crackers? You want crackers? We can get you a burger. We can get you a burger later. Let's walk up the hill. Ah! Just
Yeah.
terrible.
These parents fail at like basic behaviorism. They just don't get it. They're like, I don't understand why this kid's like this. Every time they don't get what they want, they scream and cry until I give it to them, which I always do. And then they do it again later, even though they got what they wanted. It's shocking that my kids
Yeah,
are
you
awful.
don't negotiate with terrorists. You just kill 7,000 civilians.
Yeah, exactly. We're watching that work out super well. right
Yeah,
now in real
exactly.
time.
So we did that. The next day we like went to just went kind of off grid to like this lake up in the hills, which was really cool. Big stream running into it. So we hiked around this lake, which was awesome, kind of prairie hills area, lots of flowers and stuff. And then
Did you allow any of the fish in that lake to eat your semen?
I did not.
Ah,
No.
well,
It
okay.
wasn't the most romantic atmosphere because
The children
so
were,
many
yeah.
people had taken dumps on the on the stream.
Are you for real? Like
Oh yeah,
human
dude,
shit
everywhere you
everywhere?
went there was like piles of dirty toilet paper. Like people were fishing down there and then just took a dump in the rocks and threw toilet paper on the ground. It's
That's so
insane.
awful.
But so then we went out of there and we drove through so I had booked us a place in Death Valley, which you know how that hurricane came through California like in August? It was like a big
Sure.
story and then it kind of went by, nobody talked about it anymore,
Right.
but
Other people
yeah, like
died some other place and we forgot all about it. Yep.
yeah, it's
Hence
hard to keep track.
the vicious cycle of the news.
Oh no, you got rain in the most like forest fire prone area. That's terrible. 7,000 people are dead over here. No, but so when that hurricane came through, it dumped a ton of rain in the surrounding hills. And like Death Valley's it's a valley, right? So there's this huge lake at the bottom. Um well, okay, that's not correct. Normally there's not a huge lake there. It's extremely dry. It's like the most barren, lifeless place I've ever been. It's
Like,
unbelievable how
is it
remote it is.
like deserty where it's just like it looks like a desert?
There's barely plants. Like
Okay.
it's just scorched rocks and dirt. And the floodplain for this area or the drainage area that drains down into this area called Badwater Basin that's at the bottom of Death Valley. It's like 280 some feet below sea level, right?
Oh
It's
wow.
9,000 square miles that drain into that basin. It's like the size of New Hampshire. Any rain that falls in that area eventually ends up in the bottom of Badwater Basin. And so all this rain falls, and they had like torrential flooding. It wiped out like all the roads, like almost all the roads were closed. So we get down in there, and there's no signal for a long time. I mean, it is way out in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around. Like I said, there's barely any plants,
That's
no
kind of terrifying.
wildlife. It's a weird place. It's like going to Mars.
Yeah.
And so there's a town midway through down in the bottom that I can't remember what it is, Furnace Creek. So we take off down through there. We drove for like 4 hours through nothing to get to Furnace Creek, and there is nothing around, right? Like the nearest place is like 70 miles in any direction. So what's there is what you got. There's nothing else. So we get to this place, and I had booked us a hotel room there. Well, I get to the front desk, and the lady's like, "Okay, well, yeah, these are the two areas that are open in the park right now." And I'm like, "What? Why is that?" She's like, "Well, we had all this flooding. Like the main highway that we drove in on opened like 4 days before we we came. I had no idea."
Wow.
But so this place was not cheap, but it looked really cool online, right? It's kind of like this old 50s, 40s uh, vacation resort area. They have a golf course and stuff, big restaurant and things. I mean, it looked
A
really
golf
cool.
course in the area you've just described as a desert. They have a golf course.
Yeah.
The entire golf course is just one big sand trap.
I don't know. It must be. I mean,
What the fuck?
there's no way there's an abundance of grass anywhere down there.
It's like that mini golf turf shit.
Snowflakes.
Yeah.
So, but the place looked really cool. So before we check in, we're starving and it's getting late. So like, we're like, okay, well, there's a restaurant. Let's go to the restaurant and we'll have some dinner, right? It's the only thing around. There's nowhere else. So we get into this restaurant and it's just like a little country bar and grill type thing.
Yeah, you texted me a picture of the menu for this place and Jesus Christ.
It's so expensive. It's like nothing. It's like going to like it's like going to like an off-brand Longhorn, and I got a picture of the menu here. So like uh chips and salsa's $10. Chicken wings, 1 pound is $26. Half chicken mole, $43. Salmon, $56. So we sit down to eat dinner and I'm like, oh my God, like this is crazy. So we just split some stuff and we leave the restaurant. I'm like, geez, this place must be more upscale than I thought it was. Like, that's pretty nuts that they charge that much for things. So we go get checked in and stuff. The like main clubhouse thing where you check in is really pretty log cabin. It's obviously been redone like very recently. She's like, okay, well, you're back in
Which were
this
some of
area.
the pictures you must have seen online, right? Like the front area that's
Yeah.
recently redone. You're like, that looks cool.
Well, and they had like the hotel is split into two. There's like two spots, so one's across the road. What I thought I had reserved was these little villas, which is like a little
Okay.
mini house with
They
like
have
a half kitchen and a separate bedroom and stuff.
it's like the
S-
section for the poors and then the section for the regulars on the other side of the road.
exactly. Yeah.
And so it's like the
And
lot lizard section where like they just prostitutes take rich businessmen into those sides, and then like the families who have means go to the other side of the road. I get it.
right, the kind of place that I like to stay.
Right.
I thought I had got. It was like a little pricey for what I wanted for what we were gonna. Because I was like, well, we're not gonna spend any time at the hotel, but it's close. It's right there, right? So I was like, oh, okay, $200 a night. Like, that's fine. I'll do that. So they give us our keys, and she writes on the map where we're supposed to go and stuff. We get back in there, and it's
A map.
it's a college dorm. Like it's a college dorm from like the 40s, and it's it's dark. Like everything's like designated dark sky, so like there's not a lot of light pollution, so you can see the stars and stuff, which is cool, right? But it's first off, it's hard to find. Second off, we get back to the dorm, and right sitting out front, there's two big grody looking plastic bins full of like soiled linens, blankets and pillows and stuff that are like it's weird. You're like, what
Like
are these
blood
doing here?
stains
Like
all over them.
they were like they had been out in the elements. And you're like, why are these here? Are they like remodeling or what? No, there's just like soiled linens like laying out in the street
It
basically.
looks like if you threw a rock at them, they'd shatter like stained glass.
Yeah. It's like nothing out here is wet. How are these blankets wet and moldy?
Is it wet or is it just that like sticky sheen?
Oh, well, I didn't sniff them or anything, but somewhere in between the two, I'm sure. So we go up in there and it's like really dark in the hallways and stuff, and there's all these dudes like standing around. And I'm like, what
Smoking
is
cigarettes and gambling with little
basically
green visors that you can see through.
well, like I figured out later that like with all the roads closed and stuff, like they're basically using this hotel as like a dormitory for the road work, the highway workers. So there's like
Okay.
dudes staying four to a room all throughout there, and then us. And we get in there, and it's like, dude, it's like an airport Super 8.
Oh,
Like
dude, the
everything's broken. The ceiling fan's got a blade busted off of it. The light fixtures are like hanging from the ceiling. There was
all
no
the
hot water at
the
all.
the ceiling fans have been replaced. The blades on the ceiling fans have been replaced with dildos.
just just a plank. But there's
My pores are just screwed into it.
and like I'm not exaggerating. There was no hot water in this building.
No
Like
way. Is that even?
there
How
was
do you
none.
even
It
do that?
wasn't like, oh, it's overtaxed and so there's not some right now. Like I tried several different times to like take a shower and there is no hot water. It's only cold. It's so like and everything's dirty and stuff and you're like this is not what if this was like a hey, we're staying here for a night, it's $50, like we'll deal with it. That's
Right.
that's fine, but it's
Which
it's
I've
200
done.
bucks a night, you know? and there's nowhere to go because you're stuck in the middle of nowhere.
That's why it's $200 a night. They know you're fucked once you're there.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
So
the expensive meals, I'm like, if it's all like highway workers, construction, overnight people, and that's the only place, and they're just staying there. That's probably like, oh, let's just like quadruple the price of what this is actually worth because we know that the state's paying for it on a
oh
card.
yeah, they're probably making a killing right now off of all
Yeah,
that. It sucked so bad. And so
I
like we
love it.
had booked it for 2 nights and it was so bad that like we just packed up and left the next morning. Just thought, well, we'll go to the park today and then we'll go stay someplace else. So, yeah, that wasn't good. It was a bad experience. I have yet to write a bad review. I don't really write bad reviews for anything.
You have to for this place. You sent me pictures of the cum stained furniture, dude. That
Yeah.
was rough.
Just like a big crusty white stain on the front of like the little chair in there.
Yeah. What did I say to you? Something about like it because it underneath you took the cushion off and underneath it was like bleached white and it looked like someone just I think I said it looked like someone poured a bunch of lion bleach on there to clean out the blood stains. It's like it
Pretty
had this
much.
like acid washed like chemical burn look to it where it's like what were they why does it look like that? Like that doesn't just happen. That was a very intentional cleaning that was done, and it might have been where someone might have been murdered in that chair.
Yeah, it's fumigation stains.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
It's dude.
somebody with a diaper fetish, that's where they popped right there. Everything poured out.
Diaper fetish.
Dude, what was crazy though is like so the next day we hit some stuff in the park before we went. We went down into Badwater Basin, which like I said, I don't think there's usually a lot of water there, but there's a huge lake in there right now. This big salt lake, right? So you walk out onto the salt flats and it's, everything's just like bleach white and reflected. It's pretty cool, but like
Does
it's
it looks
such
like
a
snow kind of like that kind of
almost, yeah.
white? I feel like I've obviously I haven't I'm not well traveled, so I haven't seen anything like that in person, but I feel like I've seen pictures of similar things where it's just like it has like a snow look and it's kind of hard to tell if you're not sure of where the picture is taken.
Yeah, it's kind of like that sort of thing. So what's crazy is like you look on the website and they're like, okay, we have, it lists out like all the animals that they have within the park. And obviously there's a lot of elevation change. So some stuff lives up high, I'm sure. But like you're driving around in there and you're like, I don't see how this could support any life at all. I mean, it's the most desolate place. There's not even any birds. I mean, it's just empty. It's literally like the surface of Mars. And so we're walking out onto this salt flat, looking around and stuff, and there's a bunch of people there and everything. And I noticed there was like something heaped up, like on the side of the path, way out towards the water on this like salt flat.
It's just more human shit and toilet paper.
No, I'm sure that was out there too, though. But we were walking over, and I could tell it was something dead. So I like kneeled down, and I was kind of looking at it and stuff,
You do
and
have
it
a
was
radar for dead things in the middle of nowhere. So,
I that's fair. I do seem to find a lot of dead things. But it was a duck.
a
It was
duck,
like yeah, it was like a little teal
a
and it had
mallard?
been shred. No, it was a teal. It was kind of like a little smaller one. But it's just out in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around. There's no food sources. I mean, there's nothing. And then there's just this duck that's shredded and then a pile of coyote crap like next to it. And you're just looking around and you're like, where did it come from and where did it go? How does it live here? Like it's just crazy to think that stuff survives out there.
Yeah. I
It's
wonder if
not
there's
I
are
wouldn't
there
say it's like my
caves anywhere?
I think there's some. One of the weird things is there's this place called like Devil's Hole,
But you
which I'll
said the
let you.
water was salt water though.
Oh
So
yeah, like
it's not
extremely salty.
it's not like anything's gonna drink it. It's not like a water supply that would bring any animals in. They obviously can't drink it. That's so interesting.
Yeah, like there was a lot of like grasshoppers for some reason, like out
Okay.
laying around, and it's like anything that touches that water, just salt crystallizes around it and it dies. So like even this duck carcass was just had crystallized salt all over the outside of it.
Wow.
Very weird. But yeah, there's this place in the park you couldn't get to because of the road closures and stuff, but it's called Devil's Hole, and it's like this
Hmm.
weird spring in the middle of this rock patch, and it's like crystal clear water because it's filtered, through all these layers of rock and stuff. And they don't know how deep it is. It's just like this, like almost completely transparent blue water that goes down into the dark abyss forever. They have
Really?
no clue how old it is. There's these like endangered. There's these things called a pupfish, and it's a specific species. It's like the devil's hole pupfish. It's the only place they live, and they're found there, nowhere else. So
Really?
it's so strange.
That's honestly really sick.
Well, and it's like something to do with this place is like it's reactive to like seismic activity. So they had videos in the visitor center of like there was an earthquake somewhere out into this in the Pacific, and they have cameras trained on the outside of this water hole, and like I mean, I don't know how many thousands of miles away it was, but all of a sudden like this thing just starts sloshing, and it's like huge waves in this like rock crevice for no apparent reason, and it's because there's some earthquakes somewhere else on the planet. So
That's pretty incredible.
strange.
It's like fissures open up. It's like for species to just like exist in that one small place and nowhere else in the world. It feels like, well, I guess it's interesting because like evolutionarily, it's like nothing has gone in or out of that area in so long that they've just like independently evolved, I guess.
Yeah, they've
It's
just
pretty cool.
specialized. They're like a
Or
real
the
pretty
earth
blue color too.
or the earth just cracked open and that was like, ancient aliens kind of shit, right? It's just from the before times, I guess.
I thought you were gonna say that's where the floodwaters left them when it receded.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite national park by any means, but like it's definitely something worth seeing. I feel like that one and Petrified Forest are two that like I'm probably
Yeah.
not gonna like bend over backwards to go back to, but you should go see them at some point if you like that kind of stuff.
Dude,
It's very interesting.
that's what's cool about where you are. I feel like you are in much closer proximity. Well, you did fly in, but I feel like at least like being on the East Coast, anything that's not on the East Coast is like a big trip. Like you're equal distance from like the West and East Coast, maybe not equal distance actually, but still
It's a good like
on the
central
West, it's like who
base.
cares about all the way on the West? Like if you're talking like Midwest, like there's a lot out there. You go a bit west, it's like there's a things are a little bit more accessible for reasonable flight times than or even drive time. Like you could kind of map it out so you're not driving an excessive amount of time to reach different destinations. But
Yeah, it is cool. It's like, especially moving here like later on in life. Like we like to road trip, and it's like all of a sudden there's all these places we've never been that are like driving distance.
yeah,
It's pretty cool.
well, maybe one
So,
of these days you'll make it out to New England, you fucking loser.
you guys got any rocks there?
Plenty, dude. We have a mountain with dinosaur footprints on it. You could check that shit out.
Uh,
I'm
that's
probably
that's
I'm probably
evolutionist propaganda.
I'm probably a couple hours from it, and I've still never seen it. But I do want to take my kids because I mean I want to see dinosaur footprints in rock. I feel like my kids like dinosaurs. Well, every kid likes
Heck
dinosaurs.
yeah.
So I don't know. I don't. You do cool shit. You like see what's around and you do stuff. I don't. It doesn't even cross my mind to make day trips. I guess that's what happens after you have children. You're just like, You don't think ahead that much. You're like, oh shit, it's Saturday. What should we do? Let's go to the playground. You don't like plan a whole trip around it.
Yeah.
Some people
Well, it's
do.
little when it's just the two of you, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well,
So you told me you have a what is this list of
all right.
movies that you told me
So
about?
I Facebook, I don't know what's happening with my Facebook, to be honest. It's mostly just like I every ad I get, like Facebook right now thinks I'm heavily invested into what Britney Spears has said about Justin Timberlake in her recent memoir, or what Bam Margera is up to. Like all shit I've never looked up in my entire life. But Facebook is always like, I think Facebook bases what you're interested in on how long you stop and look at something promoted. And I'm a sucker for bullshit. So it's like, if I'm scrolling through it and I see something that's like Britney Spears, I'm like, oh, interesting. But I'm not seeking that out. But then what happens is I stop on it for too long. And then Facebook goes, oh, you love this? Let me give you more of it. TikTok was doing that to me as well. Actually, Facebook as well. It's all it's a conspiracy, really. But Facebook also thought that I was obsessed with Eminem. It just all I got was like Eminem and Dr. Dre shit for like 3 months until it moved on to like what Britney's up to. And look, some of that might be because Facebook and Instagram are basically the same, and I follow Britney on Instagram, and I do spend a little bit more time on Britney's posts where, you know, you might see her ass cheeks. I might spend a little more time on those than I do on like other posts that are promoted. So I get it. I get like the algorithm isn't entirely wrong. When you see Britney dancing in a bathing suit, you're
With
like
knives?
with knives. You're like, yeah, of course I'm gonna fucking watch this. You see her on the beach covering her boobs with her ass cheeks facing you. You're like, you don't continue the same consistent scroll speed. You might scroll back a bit and you go, whoa, 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 whoa. What was that? Because your brain knows when you see ass cheeks before your eyes do. So you're just like, oh, okay, let me go back real quick. Oh, yeah. I've been wanting to see those since I was 11. So,
You
cool.
pig!
Mission accomplished. I saw Britney's ass cheeks and that was nice. So it's whatever. I mean, either way, I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole, but the internet, particularly Facebook, also thought I had an interest in maybe what Candace Cameron Bure is up to. Now, for those who don't know, Candace Cameron Bure um, was DJ Tanner on Full House, the sister of Kirk Cameron.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sister of Kirk Cameron, fuck, sorry, Candace, you know, she got saved, became a born again Christian. She was like 12. That was mostly thanks to her brother becoming radicalized on the set of Growing Pains. And somehow, I don't know, it's pretty incredible.
Who could have had a
Honestly,
hand
his
in that?
legacy is unbelievable. It's hard to put that into words, really. But um, Candace, I feel like is it. So I've been I've reached out to her publicist several times to try to get her on the podcast. I don't know if they've floated it her way, but maybe they're just on D and they just shut it down as soon as they kind of got an idea of what we're about. Either way, I've been turned down uh, 3 times now. I usually go for 3 before I just give up. I was turned down 3 times. Uh, Either her or her publicists, either she's not interested in talking to us or her publicists just don't think it's the right lane for her, which
Which it's not.
it's not. But also, it would be sick because
It would be.
we had Two for Christ on and we were kind. I mean, we're kind people. We might throw some shade when we're just talking amongst ourselves, but I'm not going to look someone in the eyes and be a piece of shit. And I don't even have a bone to pick with Candace. Candace is fine. She's not in the public. She's not under public scrutiny because she said some boneheaded bullshit. Candace is just doing her thing, not making waves. But she Candace had like a partnership of some sort with Hallmark for a while. And then she recently left Hallmark to work for to start a new, or she was starting or participating in like a new media company. Um, I'm trying to remember the name of it. I'm pulling it up as we speak because I wasn't prepared.
This is like a blatantly Christian sort of media company. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's really what it is. So my bad. This is me being an absolute child right now, trying to sift through my multiple open tabs on my Google Chrome. um, all right. So now she's working for, she reveals it's a Great American Family media company is what she's working for. So,
Oh God, it's called Great American Family.
yeah. So, you know, already like what the deal is with it. Essentially like whatever she says, it's all dog whistle for I stopped wanting to participate in Hallmark. Hallmark kind of shifted away from her traditional values, which essentially is Hallmark put out a couple of movie with queer relationships and she wasn't cool with that.
Oh man,
Right.
how dare they?
Yeah, how dare they? So she moved to she moved to the Great American Family Company, media broadcasting, whatever the fuck, and they're going hard in the paint, dude. They they announced their Christmas movie lineup. And look, I know we're just rolling into Halloween. This episode will actually come out on Halloween, but we're skipping the Halloween talk because this is America and
And
Christmas started last month, okay?
I know I see all the decorations and stuff already, and just oh
So
boy,
they're
get
prepared.
ready to hear "All I Want for Christmas Is You" 300 times in the next like 90 days.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be the next few months is not great. I am so fucking thankful. Last November is when I got out of retail and moved into working at a school. And holy dude, if anything makes you just hate the capitalist society you live in, it's working at corporate retail where Christmas is never over. It's January 1st, you start placing orders for Q4 next year. Like you just are already in it. Everything's Q4, 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 Q4. It makes you want to just blow your fucking brains out. It's absolutely a nightmare to be a part of. And we know that the media companies work the same way because on October 13th, uh, they announced a record-breaking movie lineup, a 20 Christmas movie lineup for the holiday season, which is
Well, volume
obviously
equates to
quite excessive.
quality.
Yeah.
Okay, so
All right.
managed to avoid subscribing to their website.
Yeah. All right. So there'll be a little bit of an edit in here. I'll see how Casey cleans that up. But I was doing this on my phone and I got a cool notification as I was about to get into all of the fun movies that they have planned for the year. And it prompted me to pay to subscribe because I have already enjoyed this is slightly embarrassing. I had already enjoyed so many christianheadlines.com articles. Even just looking at, I'm on this website and they have all like the paid, like all the most popular shit on the side. It's like tragedy strikes. Oh, well, that's actually a tragedy. That's just regular news. Sorry. And it's 5 things you should know about new House Speaker Mike Johnson. It's like, unless the list is he's a cunt, he's a cunt, he's a cunt over and over again, then I don't really know that there's much to talk about.
Yeah, or like
Um,
a list of his previous like assault charges.
Here we go. Literally speechless. John Cooper addresses musicians dressed in drag at Dove Awards, which is kind of funny because it says musicians dressed in drag when actually there was only one musician dressed in drag, and that was Flamey Grant. And the other musician was Derek Webb, and he wasn't dressed in drag. He was just wearing a dress, uh, which I get why that would bother John Cooper so much, but it's also kind of a troll move. And John Cooper is the king of troll. So for him to make such a big deal about something that he has a problem with, thus amplifying it significantly, shows that, he's just as stupid as everybody else on the internet, and he has no actual intent of making any change. He just likes speaking to his base and riling people up for a fucking paycheck. So fuck you, John
Pretty
Cooper.
much.
All right. So anyway, Candace Cameron Bure, we're back on her. I found a little bit more while we were trying to fix our problem here about Great American Media. It's actually kind of some interesting shit. Actually, I just pulled up Wikipedia to get the most succinct information about it. But April 2020, this is a new company. It was April 2022. It was announced that Bure would take an executive role at GAC Media, GAC, which is not Great American Media. That would be GAM. So I'm not sure what GAC is, but when I look it up, it says GAC DBA, Great American Media, DBA doing business as. A company led by former Hallmark Channel head Bill Abbott. So Bill Abbott left Hallmark to start Great American Media. Not obviously amid some controversy because a lot of it has to do with, like I already said, Hallmark's trend towards the quote unquote progressive themes. Obviously, that's mostly just LGBTQ shit because what else is Hallmark doing that's progressive? Nothing.
They started
They
playing Gilmore Girl reruns, and he was like, "Not in my house."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not a Hallmark aficionado, but I would be willing to bet that at least 95% of their couples are, you know, late 20s, early 30s, post divorce, definitely white. Like, we know what they're doing. Now there was some response, like there was some criticism over she got some criticism regarding her comments about quote unquote traditional marriage by some celebrities like Hillary Burton, who was, I actually didn't realize that she was on TRL for a bit, but she's most well known for being on One Tree Hill. I think it was Peyton. And shockingly, JoJo Siwa, who I've only learned about since I started working in elementary school, but she's a
I don't know who
YouTuber.
any of those people are.
JoJo C was a YouTuber, which means she's off my radar, and I don't care. Now, of Burr's implication that American media production would never depict same-sex couples, Abbott, the guy who started it, who left Hallmark, stated to the Wall Street Journal that, quote, "It's certainly the year 2022, so we're aware of the trends. There's no whiteboard that says, yes, this, or no, we'll never go there." So that's his easy way out of just not actually answering the question and not stating what his actual problem with Hallmark is, but it's pretty clear. And I think what will make that clear is that out of 20 fucking Great American Media films, I'm sure none of them will depict same sex couples, which, whatever. I mean, look, I get that representation matters, but I don't really want any of my life represented on Hallmark or Great American Media. So
That's fair.
does it matter really
Maybe
there?
gay people are dodging a bullet.
Yeah, right. Because you're all, look, it's like, I do you want, if you're queer, do you want to be represented as queer on Hallmark or Great American Media? Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm sure
not
they'll
queer,
do a
so,
good job with it.
but here we go. I want to just go through this list. We don't have to hit all 20, but maybe we will because look, we're not getting too in depth here. I think the fun thing is looking at the similarities and differences. And I think that the similarities column will be stacked and the differences column will have almost nothing in it at all as far as tally marks go. But it's so funny just reading some of the film titles here. So the first, here we go. Starting with Destined to Christmas Once More will premiere on Great American Family on October 14th. So we already missed the premiere, and we are well into the Christmas season as far as Great American Media Company is concerned. And it's telling the story of a man who is plotting a Christmas proposal to his girlfriend. That's it.
That's
What do you
it.
think, Casey? That's the
It's
plot.
just him making plans to like bury a ring in her like flan at a restaurant.
Her fruit cake.
He's
Bure is
gonna get
chief
on the kiss
executive
cam at the Dodgers game or something like that.
Yeah. Oh
What
God.
what could possibly be the most interesting way that he might propose?
He gets her a puppy and he shoves the ring up the puppy's asshole. So when it takes a shit in her house 30 seconds after she saves it from suffocating to death in a box wrapped in plastic, yeah, she realizes that he's in love with her.
So in this scenario, you feel that the ring comes out like around the turd, like a
Yeah.
fake like a little brown
Yeah.
finger.
Exactly. Well, perfect. But that
There's a,
turd is
there's a
just
the major
it's
thing
full of like
compromising
ribbons
that.
and shit.
Yeah, whatever the puppy ate last, like a sock.
Yeah, a battery. It comes out wrapped around a battery.
It literally like poops out. It does one of those sock dumps where you have to kind of like pull it out,
Yeah.
and then she's got it. There's a ring tied to the end.
Where it's like, when dogs eat, like my dogs eat probably a lot of cat hair, and you've definitely found like hairs poking out the end of an animal's butthole where you like just kind of keep pulling that string as it comes out, and it just eventually there's a
Sometimes
ring tied to the end of it.
I think that would be pretty. That's cute and unique.
Yeah,
Somewhat dangerous for the puppy, but like you got to take risks in life. I
yeah.
think the
I mean,
major thing compromising that plan is how often puppies have diarrhea. It may
yeah,
just be it may just be like your K's diamond like laying in a puddle of brown.
yeah. It comes out, it just as the puddle spreads, the ring gets exposed. It's beautiful, really. Bure, Chief Executive
How
Officer.
about what if because I'm thinking of the theme here. Like, what if he proactively writes "Will you marry me, Courtney" under the base of a Confederate statue that college kids are about to topple, and she sees it on the news, and she's like, "Oh my god, I don't think
That's what
so."
he was expecting. He was aware of the liberal propaganda protest that was going to go on. He was like, I know exactly what I need to do. He knew where those news cameras are going to be real quick. So I guess this is all part of like a 24-hour a day Christmas program. Like this is how you know it's a new programming a new network. It says this 20 movie lineup is part of a 24-hour day Christmas programming beginning October 13th. That means nonstop,
Ugh.
24 hours a day. They're just going to play the same fucking movies over and over and over again. And
What
it's,
other? Well, maybe it'd be interesting after this to look and see like what other shows they've actually licensed. Because
yeah,
they
yeah.
have to have like bought like 3 seasons of Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman or something like
Oh
that to
my
fill in
God.
the gaps, or is it just going to be like Thigh Master commercials?
Well, there's one way to find out, and that would be texting Christmas, all caps, to 1-877-999-1225 to find your hashtag Great American Family viewing options. So if you're curious, you can start there.
All right, give me the number again.
All right. So, all right. Destined 2, that's the one I just said, right? I'm scrolling back up. Yeah, Destined 2, Christmas Once More. We
Well,
did that one.
wait, what am I
Twas the
supposed to
text.
text? What am I
Are
supposed to?
you
What number am I texting to?
are you doing it right now?
Yeah.
Perfect. Text Christmas to 1-877-999-1225. That was in a post by Candace Cameron Bure where she's dressed up in Christmas attire in front of a Christmas tree with excessively large Christmas ornaments on it. That's peculiar. Um,
Okay, I have to
there is a video.
confirm
I wish
here.
there had a better way. I wish my audio for my computer was being pumped into the broadcast here because that would be fun to just listen to that together. But we can't. So, all right. After Destined 2 Christmas Once More, we have Twas the Text Before Christmas. An unexpected text message sent to the wrong number sets into motion a Christmas tradition with a new family over 3 separate years. October 21st, we missed it, 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
So the person texts the wrong person something which sets into motion a
Yeah,
Christmas tradition with another family.
a real sexy wrong number who dis kind of scenario.
Kind of an Anthony Weiner sort of situation.
Yeah, and if Anthony Weiner was like, "Oops, I didn't realize I sent this. My mistake."
Peep my Yule log,
If
bro.
Anthony Weiner was like, "Oops, wrong number, meant to send this picture of my wiener to my wife," then it would be exactly that. It would be the same thing. I wish that "'Twas the Text Before Christmas" started with a dick pic. And yeah, Merritt Patterson and Trevor, an unexpected text message sent to the wrong person. Patterson. Yeah, so Trevor, or I don't know, whatever the man is in this is the one that sent the text. So I think it's particularly wholesome that Candace Cameron Bure would be part of a film that, you know, she needs the wholesome. What's the text? Merry Christmas, I love you. I mean, it's got to be something real simple, but if it was real life, it would be like, it would be a picture of a dick with a bow on top of it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and maybe he's a youth pastor and he thinks he's sending it to someone who left the youth group like 2 years ago.
Or he's sending it to his wife, Marie, but also there's a youth group student named Marie, and he didn't differentiate properly in his contacts list. And, well, the wrong Marie.
Murray, I need you. I want to deck your halls. Something like that.
I got a present for you to open. Real
Okay,
good shit.
I got some text back here.
Oh, nice.
Um, so I had to opt in. It says get 100 messages a month of GAF channel file.
That's so
So
many
I have
messages.
to remember how to opt out of this at some
Yeah,
point here, very soon, actually. So it
it
says,
doesn't
thank
tell
you
you.
for your interest in high quality movies. Just respond with
Oh,
your zip
God.
code to find out how to watch Great American Family in your area.
Respond with your
So I
zip code,
did.
social security number, phone number, driver's license number.
Yeah, and it's on all of the, all of the normal like Dish Network and Direct TV.
It comes free with your
What is
subscription of
Fubo?
Newsmax.
You're right. It's like,
Fubo?
wait, free with any donation to the Heritage Foundation.
Fubo,
Yeah.
Fubo?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. And then there's Philo, Philo,
I don't know.
and Friendly TV. No one's ever heard
Friendly
of this crap.
TV?
It's like Net Nanny's streaming service.
Oh my god. All right. Well, the next one, Bringing Christmas Home, starring Jill Wagner and Paul Green. I like how it tells you who they're starring, like it matters to fucking anyone.
As if it's not the
Uh,
first movie that they've ever been in.
yeah,
If
they
it's
literally
if it
just got
wasn't the start
inducted.
and end of their movie career.
Yeah, they just got inducted into SAG, and they're like, we're real actors now. Uh, a professor, oh God, a professor of military history teams with an antique store owner to track down the original owner of a historic World War II uniform and the love letters left in its pockets.
Oh, dude, they love jerking off to World War II.
Yeah, World War II sexy, dude. I like a sexy World War II. Don't look at my
So
search history. You'll find a lot of sexy World War II searches.
he's like, I miss you, honey. I can't get the blood off my hands.
Actually, my sexy World War II searches, it's just the wives of deployed soldiers cheating on their husbands.
Unit 743, no filter.
All right. All right, next one. Journey to Christmas, Journey to the Center of Christmas. No, it's just Journey to Christmas. Starring Ash Sy and Joey Hayworth. While on a charity press tour, a model, Sy, I don't know if I'm saying that right. TSAI. That's the only way my American brain knows how to pronounce that. Well, on a charity press tour, a model ends up stranded by the weather at the family home of the driver she hired to assist her for the week. So it's kind of like like Uber, the a Christmas Story.
it's like a lamer version of that Jonathan Taylor Thomas one where he gets stuck glued into a Santa suit.
Oh, I forgot about that. It's it's like the second half of Home Alone where mom can't get home to Kevin because the weather's too bad. So she hires a truck of fucking brass instrument players to bring her home, and then falls in love with John Candy and fucks his brains out in front of all the other uh instrumentalists. I don't know.
Instead of showing the like a young kid giving head trauma to a couple of like poor dudes. It's actually the better story. It's heartwarming.
All right.
A
Uh
model's on like a charity press tour.
yeah.
When has
What do you
that
think the
scenario
charity is?
ever played out in real life?
What's the charity that this woman's what's a charity press tour? What's her charity?
She's raising money for Kyle Rittenhouse's legal defense.
I was gonna say it's
She's,
distributing TV dinners to poor families, but
if you donate if you donate $400, I'll eat a knuckle sandwich from Steven Crowder.
oh my god! All right,
She
next
stands
one.
her ground under the
Yeah.
mistletoe.
Dancing crap.
This is a fun game,
I
actually.
love this. This is a lot of fun. All right, the next one, A Dash of Christmas, starring. Oh, we got a Broadway actor on this one, starring Broadway's Laura Osnes and Christopher Russell. A marketing a marketing exec, which is Laura, must learn a recipe to get her dream job and ends up entered in a holiday bake-off with a dream baker, Christopher Russell. What the fuck?
She has to learn a recipe in order to get her dream job and somehow ends up in a baking contest with a dreamy baker.
Dude, that's the joke. I mean, that plot is the actual joke. A marketing exec must learn a recipe to get her dream job. Her dream job is a baker, I guess, and ends up entered in a holiday bake-off with a dream baker. So she ends up in a bake-off with someone that she finds sexually appealing and she's into, and love buds from there. But they have to compete, and that's challenging because she wants to win and he wants to win, but they also want to be bakers. They want
She
to be
Cardi
star
B's
bakers.
his eggnog.
She Cardi B's her eggnog. I don't know what that means, Casey, but
Oh, Cardi B apparently used to drug dudes when she was a stripper and then steal their money.
oh, nice. I didn't know she had her start was stripping.
Apparently so.
Cool. Well, I
Yeah,
don't even
so
know what to say
that
about that plot, dude. That was
sounds.
just insane. I mean,
I wonder if if she learns that she's been too career focused and that she's not really enjoying the true spirit of Christmas, which
right, which
is
I
to.
understand. I understand. A marketing exec. I mean, I get it. The corporate grind's bullshit. She just wants to mix ingredients into a bowl and throw it in the oven for the rest of her life. And I think that's admirable.
Wait a second. What is the name of the her male counterpart? I want to see if this baker's a hunk.
Christopher Russell.
Christopher Russell.
Yeah. Is he Bay?
He's a pretty dreamy baker.
Let me see it.
Yeah, like he has like movie guy hair.
Oh, that means it's like, um, yeah, you know
Yeah,
what the movie
it's
guy
tough
here.
to
It's like the
see.
mid length. It goes backwards. It's like a mid length on the sides, just barely goes over the ears, but mostly behind them, and it's like a full comb back.
He
Yeah, yeah,
has
yeah, yeah.
full on
Okay.
like trust fund brat lacrosse hair,
Yeah,
which
he's got
I
that.
would love to
I got.
have.
It's like,
I'm not trying to be a douche. Oh my god, there's one without his shirt on. He is a hunk.
wow, dude, he's
Look at
fucking
him
ripped.
go.
Is that CGI? Holy shit! Look at that 8-pack. Fuck,
My boy Christopher looks like sex on a stick out here.
dude. All his 8-pack is symmetrically angled to drip all that cum into his cum gutters. All of it.
He looks like corn on the cob.
Back and forth. All right. Next one. Our Christmas Wedding, starring Holly DeVoe and Drew Seeley.
Oh my
In the
god,
sequel,
Christmas and a wedding?
yeah, this is a sequel. In the sequel, what's the first one? I don't know. In the sequel, roles reverse as Nicole's boss plans newly engaged Nicole and Michael's wedding in 2 weeks at Christmas. So Nicole and Michael are getting married, and for some reason, her boss is planning the wedding in 2 weeks. Her boss is doing that for her.
Who is like the
What
main
is
part
this?
of this story? Is this
What?
following the boss?
It's hard to know. The boss is probably, I'm going to guess the boss is an elderly figure, maybe like a father figure to Nicole, in that he's going to walk her down the aisle at the end. That's my guess. I'm going to Google this because I think that's probably what happens. And that premieres, I can't Google it. It premieres November 5th. So y'all can watch it
Ooh.
in real
Well,
time.
Christmas and a wedding. They had to release that one a little later.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't do that one.
You don't want their audience to
Halloween.
climax early.
Yeah.
I wonder if her boss, in his haste or her haste to plan this extravagant wedding, loses sight of the real meaning of Christmas and maybe finds a little love of her own along the way.
I would argue that if you're planning a wedding on Christmas, you've lost sight of the true meaning of Christmas. Hey, how do we make this holiday all about us?
Right? How do we ruin everyone
Oh, let's
else's
ruin
Christmas?
everyone's Christmas and get married on Christmas. Oh, you have a family and you like to give your children gifts? We're going to fuck that up for you. And we're going to make you show up to our shit because you feel bad saying that you won't be there when we send out an RSVP that says, if it's in 2 weeks, the RSVPs are going to go out and be like, can you attend our wedding next week? And everyone's going to be like, well, we don't technically have anything going on Christmas. We were just going to enjoy our family and let our children open gifts. But I guess we can ruin it for them and show up and spend more money to give you a gift that you don't need because you already probably have it all. I'm guessing if it's a Hallmark type, they're all doing pretty well in their careers and they're really upset that they're upset that everything's worked out so perfectly for them except their wedding, and they need to do that in 2 weeks to inconvenience everybody else.
That sounds about right. That would be. I would be very upset if I was obligated to attend a wedding on Christmas. That's
Oh
maybe the
god, I would
only
be
thing worse
fucking
than having
pissed.
to eat turkey at your grandma's house.
That dry ass overcooked turkey. Dude,
Oh
if
yeah.
turkey's cooked right, it's good. We have a tendency in America to overcook our poultry.
I don't know that I've had good turkey. I think
Really?
turkey's. I kind of generally think that turkey is like a terrible bird.
I I think I don't enjoy white meat on a turkey, especially when it's just like cooked in the oven because the turkey breast gets all the heat. It gets dried out real quick. But
You might as well it's so dry. You might as well eat silica packets.
maybe, but didn't was it the it's I forget what it is. I just learned this recently, but like even for chicken, um the internal temp for chicken is a lot higher in the US than it is in Europe. Uh and I want to say the same for other poultry like turkey. It's like duck, like duck. I don't know. I don't really know the difference because like duck, you can be like,
Duck
well,
is like
do you want
medium
this
rare.
rare? Yeah, you can cook that shit rare. If chicken is undercooked, it's fucking awful. Like you want to
Dangerous.
kill yourself. But even if it's like chicken's weird because it's like it's only with the meats that you can cook medium or rare, it's because the bacteria will only present on the outside and cooking it cooks that off. But with poultry, or I should say chicken, it's if the if the chicken itself has salmonella bacteria, the internal temp needs to hit a certain temperature so that you won't get salmonella because it's not on the outside, it's throughout. Um, but again, Europe, they've lowered that. And that's like with pork. They not too long ago lowered the internal temperature needed for pork, and that I think has to do with maybe the way they cure it. Either way, a lot of goes into it. I think we've gone down a rabbit hole that's totally independent of our great American family, whatever the fuck Christmas movie lineup. We've only gone through 7, dude. I don't know. We're not going to go through 20 of these. We're not going to hit all 20, but let's go through a couple more. Let's hit
Real
10. I
quick,
think I said one 7.
I was like just glancing at a list of traditional Victorian Christmas dishes,
Oh,
and there's most of these are weird. You want to hear a couple?
is it the turkey with those like little it looks like they have it's like those leggings when the
The
turkeys have
little
those
chef's hat on its
cute
feet.
little leggings, the little chef's hat on the feet. Yeah, that's so hot, dude.
There's some of that. Yeah, there's okay.
Oh,
Um,
that traditional Victorian turkey.
pigeon pie.
Oh,
Uh,
no, you killed pheasant recently, right? You tried pheasant?
dove. Yeah.
Dove. How
So that
was
might be
that, by the
good.
way?
It was delicious
Yeah?
with a little chimichurri or chimichurri, however you say it. It was very good.
Mm.
Calf's head.
Calf's head, like baby cow?
Yep.
Okay.
And it's this is
Real
just an
real head.
illustration, but it is a literal like calf's head on a platter.
That's fucked up. That's
Calf's
actually fucked
heart
up.
is another thing on here. Calf's tongue is another
Damn,
like
dude, they just
calves don't
love
fare well at
killing.
Christmas.
No, if you're a baby cow, it's like being a baby in around the time that Jesus was born when Pharaoh had a bunch of them murdered. Just don't be a
Yeah.
baby at that time.
A lot of random cow parts. All right, what's next on the list?
All right. Oh, holy fuck, dude. The next one, you're going to know this name. And if you don't, I have some choice words for you. A
Oh man, another
Christmas
honk.
blessing. The blessing. A Christmas blessing. Starring Lori Loughlin.
I know the
Are you?
name. What is Lori Loughlin from?
I'll give you a hint. She may or may not have paid her children's way unethically into a prestigious college.
Oh, she's a Full House. She
Aunt
was
Becky,
a
baby.
Aunt Becky. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're teaming up. They're back at it. God damn. I needed that duo again. I didn't realize that I needed it until I read it. A Christmas Blessing starring Lori Loughlin, James Tupper, and Jesse Hutch. A TV chef, Lori Loughlin, is divinely inspired to take over her late aunt's charity with help from a new friend, Hutch, and handsome business associate next door, Tupper.
What do you suppose the charity is for?
Ooh, okay. TV chef is divinely inspired to take over her late aunt. It's a late aunt, so it's an aunt. We know how old Lori Loughlin is. She's an older lady. Still, I'm not throwing shade. She is very attractive, but she's on the older side of things. And her aunt would be much older. She probably died of old age. So, what would an old age aunt have a charity for?
Hmm. Some sort of like preservation fund for plantations.
For plantations. Well, I'm gonna guess that this movie takes place in New York because if it's a Hallmark movie, it seems to have to. It's either New York or just like the Midwest, but it's someone from New York revisiting their old home in the Midwest. Um,
They raise
I'm guessing
money
it's
to
like a
buy
choice for Todd.
migrants
It's
plane
Christmas.
tickets to Texas.
Or Florida, so they can be relocated to Martha's Vineyard. It might be a Toys for Tots kind of situation. Like, how do we provide toys for the children on Christmas. It's a Christmas blessing, so it's got to be Christmas related. I'm guessing that it's related to getting. A lot of these revolve around like where upper middle class America, or what we would call upper middle. They're the people making these films are like, let's make a movie about middle class America, not realizing how fucked the economy is. So like everyone watching it is like, wow, they're wealthy. But my guess is it's like upper middle class Americans caring about poor people once a year is usually what I think would be the type of charity that would be appropriate for a great American family Christmas film.
Yeah, like giving trivial like action figures to kids who live on one meal a day.
Giving turkeys to Tiny Tim's situations.
Ships them like a freeze dried Canadian goose carcass.
It's like It's like they don't have turkeys, but they hired Midwest puds like you to kill a bunch of pheasants or whatever the fuck you just said you caught.
Well, it sounds like a worthy cause to me.
Yeah, I mean, and it keeps you paid. You know, it keeps it helps the
God bless
economy.
you, Lori.
I would legit watch a Great American Family movie with Lori Loughlin. All right, next one. We're gonna do two more, and then we're gonna call it. Maybe we'll do the next 10 on our next episode because I'm actually enjoying this. If you're not, well, then I guess you can, skip this part after our banter in 2 weeks. But I am interested in going through the rest of this list. But next is Santa Maybe. I like the play. I like
Oh,
to play on words here.
it's a play on the worst Christmas song ever made.
Oh God, dude.
The only
Which
Christmas song
I
more
mean,
annoying than Little Drummer Boy.
I don't. I feel like all Christmas songs are tied for the worst Christmas songs ever made.
You know what? All I want for Christmas is for Mariah Carey to get whatever RFK Jr. has.
All right,
Cheryl, where's the goose?
it sounds like the grandpa from Christmas Vacation, the guy I imitated earlier. The
Yeah.
blessing.
It's like the funniest thing you'd ever saw when you were a kid.
Oh God, that movie fucking rules, dude. I watch it every year. You know what I just watched? Not quite a Christmas movie, but I watched it relentlessly when I was a child. Was Rocket Man, that Harland Williams movie where they go to Mars?
Oh, I loved that movie.
Holy shit, dude. I loved it too. And I just watched it with my kids the other night. And one, it holds up, which was
No
shocking
kidding.
because I expected it to not. And here's why. It's a lot of kids' movies now, like overdo silly. Like silly goes too far to being annoying, but it is like the right amount of silly where
Like
at
him
least
in, you feel like him inflating his spacesuit with farts was tasteful.
it
It's
that
tastefully
was
done.
like the most almost too far silly part about it, but my kids loved it. They when they realized what was going on, they thought it was so funny. But the very beginning, dude, when he's driving up to NASA to go to work and he's in his little orange, like little Volkswagen Bug or whatever the fuck it is, and he pulls into this tiny parking spot and he's too close to all the cars and he opens the driver's side door. He's got 6 inches between him on each car and he just smashes his door into the car on the left. And then he
I can
gets it out
picture that scene in my
and he
mind.
smashes his door on the car to the right, but he's got no top on his car. So when he can't get out, he just like hops over and jumps out the car. I was like, holy shit, this is so funny.
Wasn't
But there's a
me.
lot. That wasn't me stuff I remember repeating as a kid because it's funny when you're like under 10 or under 12, whatever. And that stuff is like hokey. You're like, wasn't me, huh? It's like that's not that funny anymore. But there's a lot of silly shit in that movie that actually holds up. I laughed a lot watching that. I mean, I haven't seen it in at least over 20 years.
Dude,
So anyway,
the scene that I remember the most is when like the monkey takes his like hibernation chamber, and so he's awake for 9 months or
Yeah.
whatever.
Dude, that part's actually super fucking funny. The way he passes the time and shit. Or the part where he's like preparing when they're testing him to see if he could cut it to go to space, and they have to put him and the other guy as like a competition in the isolation chambers. And they're right next to each other, and he keeps singing John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, and he's
So
doing it
good.
quiet. And then there's like that scene where he just keeps cutting him going, John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. And then the guy in the other isolation chamber jumps up and he's screaming, and it just over and over again cuts to him screaming John Jacob Jingle, and then the guy screaming, and back and forth, back and forth. And then they end the 24-hour isolation, and they open that guy's door, his neighbors, and he's like got his fingers in his ears, it's like making sounds, he's losing his goddamn mind. And they
Somebody
open,
stole my pants.
yeah, that's what they're wrapped around his head, and he's like supposed to be naked in there. And then they open Harlan Williams, and he's got his socks on his hand, and he's like, could you guys give me a few more minutes? I just started the third act. It's
Dude,
funny
I
as
gotta
shit. That
watch
movie,
that.
you should, dude. It actually does like hold up to it. A real, like, I think if I watched it alone, I wouldn't have appreciated it the same. But watching it with my kids definitely was like, oh fuck, there's some good shit in here that's not just pandering to kids under 10.
I should watch that. I gotta definitely be on like an edible or something like that when I
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
it.
Oh, for sure.
April will
All
hate
right.
it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, did she
She's
ever
never
see it
seen
as
it,
a
I'm
kid?
sure.
Yeah, it's. I think a lot of it being good still is reliving childhood memories for sure.
Yeah,
So,
I would love to watch that one. And Dunstan checks in,
oh fuck,
and
dude, I haven't seen that, and so that one probably doesn't hold up.
Cop and a Half, I'm sure holds up.
God, I don't. What is that? The name
That
is
was
ridiculous.
it was like a little black kid and Burt Reynolds, and he witnesses a murder, so he like uses it to force Burt Reynolds to like let him ride with him for a week or something like
Oh
that.
my god, I never saw that or heard of it,
Oh, it's so good.
dude. Let's save these. I need to plan another trip out your way, and we should just sit and watch like those three movies. All right,
That would be so much
I'm
fun.
gonna roll through these next two. We can discuss as we need to, but let's do these last two and then call it. We'll get through 10. And if we want to revisit the next 10 on our next step, we shall, because we can do whatever we want. Because we're doing this for fun and it's our podcast. So wait, did I say Santa maybe? Did I get into that one already?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh yeah, Perfect Christmas. All right. Oh, so we got one left actually. A pair. Oh, dude, you gotta have Paris. You need France involved in some of these, because what's
Mm-hmm.
more romantic than Gay Paris, as they call it, right? Is that what they call it?
They call
A
it gay?
Gay Paris. Yeah, you've never heard that? All right. A Paris Christmas Waltz. What a dumb title. All right, this one stars Jen Lilly, another no-name actress, and Matthew Morrison. Sorry,
I'm looking up
actor.
Matthew.
I don't think you're supposed to say actress and actor anymore. I just fuck that up sometimes, and I apologize. I think of
Performer.
myself as a progressive human, but I have my shortcomings, okay?
You say
So
Andrew
it's
Morrison?
no, Matthew, starring Jen Lilly, actor Jen Lilly, and actor Matthew Morrison. A novice dancer, Lily, of course, pairs with a professional, Morrison. Okay, before we even read more, can we let's have a movie where like the novice dancer is the man and the professional is the woman. I don't why is it this is so Hallmark, right? Flip the switch, baby.
So
Anyway, a
she's
novice.
the novice and he's
Yeah,
the
but
professional.
I would like to see those roles
Dude,
reversed.
he's
I
nothing.
know.
He's not as handsome as the last guy. He's kind of a tool.
Ooh. Well, all right. A novice dancer, Lily, pairs with a professional, Morrison, to enter a renowned dance competition. Dot dot dot. In Paris! Exclamation mark. I like how excited they are in just this 2-sentence blurb to announce that this one's actually in Paris and not fucking New York.
Oh man, please let it be Paris, Texas.
Oh, this is a sequel too. The next story in the Christmas Waltz universe. Oh, dude, they started a universe,
Dang, a whole cinematic like
a Christmas verse,
alter
or
reality here.
a Great American Family verse.
So this wait, so what is the name?
All right,
What is the theme of the multiverse here?
all right. The next story in the Christmas Waltz universe, the highest rated Christmas rom com of 2020. Oh, that's it. That's just extra.
5
Okay.
years ago or
All
whatever.
right. So a novice dancer pairs with professional to enter a renowned dance competition in Paris. This is the next story in the Christmas Waltz universe, the highest rated Christmas rom com of 2020. Now, I'm curious though, if this was the next story in the Christmas Waltz universe, I'm guessing one of these is a returning actor, and it can't be Jen Lilly because she's a novice dancer. It could be Matthew Morrison, but my guess is if Matthew Morrison is a professional,
He
he
didn't
either
woo another lady.
he either just wooed the woman in the first and that didn't work out, and now he's on to his second and he's establishing a pattern of predatory behavior, or or Morrison was the novice in the first film and became a professional over the past 5 years and is now entering the renowned dance competition with a new person. And Morrison is, for the first time, engaging sexually with, well, they probably don't have sex in this because that doesn't line up with Christian family values, but he's engaging romantically with a student, which, for Christians, as long as you don't engage sexually, there's no ethical lines crossed, which
No,
is
you just have to wait for
important to
the
know.
18 to roll
Right,
around.
right, right. Or for her to become a professional too. That's the caveat. If she's 18 but she's a student, you just wait for her to, or it's like is it therapy law? Was it if you're someone's counselor or therapist, you're supposed to wait like I think it's a year and a half after you're no longer their therapist to be able to engage in a relationship, I think is what it
I'm
is, a year
sure
and a
that
half.
most therapists that cross that line have the decency to respect that year boundary.
Oh yeah.
So
I
what would he have to do? What would have to happen if okay, let's say that in the first Christmas Waltz movie,
I'm gonna
he
look it up
was
while
one of
you
the
hash
love
this.
interests, right? And now there's this new girl coming on the scene. So something awful had to happen to the previous girl. And it can't be that she died of COVID because COVID's not real at Great American Family.
The Christmas
So
Waltz was a also a song by Frank Sinatra. Interesting.
the prior love interest was on like Malaysian Flight 99 or something and sank into the sea. So not only are they doing romantic dancing, but he's healing from the loss of his first love, thanks to novice dance student, what's her name? Kelly Flock of Seagulls.
Waka Flocka Flame. Christmas Waltz, Christmas movie, dude.
Dude, anything
This
that
for
gets
this being okay, dude. What the fuck? For this being quote unquote the highest quote unquote highest rated Christmas rom com of 2020, it doesn't even have a Wikipedia. So that's fucked.
what is that based on?
Christmas Waltz. There's a Mad Men episode. It's the 10th episode of the fifth season. That's it, dude. It's not a good movie. If
That is
when you
whack.
search it, it just brings you to searches on Wikipedia, and it breaks it down by film and TV, which is just Christmas Waltz, the Mad Men season 5
No,
episode,
here I
or
got it.
what?
I found it. I typed in here. Maybe it was what you searched because I typed in a Christmas Waltz movie. Maybe you just didn't think to word it that way.
I guess I said the Christmas Waltz movie. I guess I needed a different article.
Okay, let's see.
On Wikipedia, dude? You found it on Wikipedia.
No, it's on IMDb.
Yeah, IMDb. Of course, it's on IMDb, but that's not going to give us enough. I
Well, I
said
want to
it's
see
on
what the
Wikipedia.
synopsis is.
All right.
Okay, it says Avery, a Manhattan contract lawyer, has long dreamed of a fantasy Christmas wedding, something that her fiance David has obliged despite their respective extremely busy work schedules. She also dreams of having an elegant first dance, ballroom, which neither her or David know how to do. As such, especially as she is the type of person who needs to do things well or not do them at all, this is a lot of preamble.
That's a
She wants
lot
to
of.
sign them up for a couple of waltz lessons. When, with just over 3 weeks until the wedding, David makes a unilateral decision that she sees as placing his career over her, Avery responds by breaking up with him. Remembering back to her childhood when she did take a few dance classes, with she further reminded by her parent. Dude, this is like whoever wrote this synopsis didn't pass their
No, didn't pass
M-herps
their
or whatever it
MTELs.
was.
Their entry level publicist, entry level social media manager wrote this.
Remembering back to her childhood when she did take a few dance classes, with she further reminded by her parents that they pulled her from those classes
Jesus
in focusing on
Christ,
other
dude!
activities at which she had greater aptitude.
What
Avery
the fuck?
ultimately, this is all one sentence. Avery ultimately decided to keep the 10 waltz lessons up,
And this
for which she signed her and David, she now going in solo under the tutelage of the. I'm still in the same sentence.
the
Under the
tutelage of
tutelage of
Randy
the dance
Tutelage.
school's owner, Roman. Good God, that was the longest sentence in history.
Dude, what I actually some of the problems for my MTELs were it would give you like a big paragraph, and one of the questions would be like, which sentence should be revised for clarity. And
That
holy
one.
fuck, that
That's the
one.
one. I would underline it, but I don't know if I have enough ink in my
That's
pen.
unbelievable. So wait, so my question is Matthew Morrison the guy who
Oh, let's see.
sucks at dancing? Because Matthew Morrison is the professional in a Paris Christmas waltz, and Jen Lilly is the novice. So Matthew Morrison is wooing Lilly.
No, this is Jeremy Gilbot is
So
David,
it's a
her
sequel in the
fiance.
sense that they took the original name of the movie, rehashed the entire plot, but set it in Paris and just put the word Paris in the title.
Yeah, they
Okay,
do dance.
cool.
That's the connecting point. Will
Fuck,
Kemp
man,
is
that's
Roman,
trash.
and he's kind of a rough looking fella. He's got kind of a shabbiness about him, but he's good at ballroom apparently. Oh. Okay, despite the disaster of her first lesson leading to
Dude,
thoughts
it's
of
still
quitting,
going on.
she, with Roman's help, perseveres in part due to the two of them being tied together in a personal sense out of circumstance. In the process, the two make a human connection as Avery flourishes as a waltzer and changes as a person. As a romance between the two seems a plausibility, that possibility is threatened as David re enters her life, asking for her forgiveness in wanting their marriage plans to get back on track. Wow, that was tough. That was a
That's a
tough
mouthful.
read. So he makes a move that she feels is putting his career above her. So she breaks up with him at the last second, 3 weeks before their wedding, and decides to keep doing the ballroom dancing lessons in spite of the fact that they broke it off. And then she steady ballroom grinds on Roman, and they get their two crotches together make sparks. Makes sparks, and David smells the smoke. He's like,
Well, this
that
was
was tiresome.
dude, this is a lot. I really enjoyed it. I'm actually screenshot because I don't want to run into the problem again where I can't look at this article because I already looked at too many.
Well,
Or
I
looked
can
at
pull them up the next time.
christianheadlines.com next time. So I've already started screenshotting them. So that way I'll
Oh,
be good.
next time we can check on on how many of my 100 texts a month I got from Great American Family.
Yeah, dude. I can't wait to see how many texts you've gotten.
I'm making a commitment right now to not unsubscribe until we record again, and then I'm sure I will
Perfect.
be ready.
Well, I'm interested to see their. I mean, they're clearly committed to pumping out lots of garbage in a short period of time. So I hope that translates into text messages as well.
Yep, I think it probably will. Well,
Well,
that was fun, fella. Good talking to you.
yeah, this was nice. It feels nice to be reunited again.
It does. Feels like the first time. Oh, another thing that happened this week is I did karaoke for the first time.
Jesus, you're brave.
Yeah, I sang a Toby Keith song.
Hell yeah. The only karaoke I will ever do when I finally commit to doing it is something by Creed. I have this real and serious intent on doing Creed karaoke at some point. I'd like to do a duo with my buddy Jesse. If I could, that would take some of the fear away. I think a real Creed karaoke duo would just fucking rule. So that's what'll get me into it at the right time with the right audience with the right friend. But respect, man. That's scary, dude. Getting up there and belting out them tunes, scary shit.
It
Especially when you're
was
not
very
good at
nerve
singing.
wracking.
I think I can do butt rock better than I could do anything else, and that's why I have a commitment to that. But really hitting
I
any other
think that
note
would go
other than
over well.
yarling. Yarling is probably all I can do. I don't think I could hit any other notes effectively. So uh, other butt rock, I could probably rock a Puddle of Mud song. There's a video of me on the internet somewhere uh, yelling, "You could, can you take it all away?" Whatever. I forget what's that Puddle of Mud
Can you
song.
take it all
Yeah,
away? That one?
yeah. Yeah, there's a video of me that exists on the internet somewhere singing that one real loud. So I don't know. Just that bullshit era rock. I could. That's my lane for my entry into karaoke. But
I think that would go over well. That was in the
mm,
cut for what was popular when people picked them.
yeah,
What
yeah.
does not work is R&B because nobody can sing
No,
R&B.
you have to actually be a good singer. Like karaoke is all about picking the right song for being a bad singer. That's karaoke.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was fun. Well, if you like the show, leave us a review wherever you listen to it. It's very helpful and it helps us creep up the charts. And we like creeping. And if you want to get in on the conversation, if you got stories you want to tell, if you got links you want to send us, if you just want to rant without names about your family members who think that Russia is destroying bioweapons plants and they're actually, the good guy in the Ukraine war, you can join our Discord and you can tell those stories there and they stay there and nobody knows that, you know, your uncle thinks the earth is flat. You can find a link to that in our Instagram profile. We got our link tree up there. So come on in. And yeah,
The
until next
water's fine.
time,
Lots of leeches, but we're good at sucking those off.
we'll
Or you
I'm
pull
not
them off.
going to.
You pull them off, and then you suck the blood out. What do you do with leeches? I don't know.
You put them on your wound and they eat the dead skin, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of uses for leeches. Leeches. Anyway.
I'm more of a tiny fish guy, as we've established. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.